Take your arms up towards the ceiling into this little pose and just hold it there. Do absolutely nothing initially. So you're going to feel the pull through the hip flexor muscle. Your back knee is going to slightly bend now towards the floor. Now make sure that's okay with your knees because not everyone likes that. So you're going to inhale and exhale. You're going to come down and then come back up. Good. Nice and simple. Just do 4 then. Good. For 3. So you're just loading the quad. Nice and gentle. For 2 more. And then last one. Good. Now stay in the same position. Your back knee is locked nice and straight. Your heel is pointing initially up towards the ceiling. Now drop that heel to the floor so your foot becomes flat to the ground, but you want to twist, but don't let it happen. Twist back to the front of the mat and still stretch to those arms. And you're going to feel it opening across your adductors into the hip flexor, and just breathe for a few more seconds. Bend your front knee a little bit deeper for 3, for 2, for 1, and let's change the other side. So do the exact same thing. So your toes are digging into the mat. Wiggle your foot back further to get a really wide stance between your front foot and the back foot. Back knee is nice and straight, arms up towards the ceiling, and you're going to lunge. So you're going to just bend that back knee. You have to really concentrate on bending the back knee only. So you're going to keep breathing into the nose, out to that mouth. Nice and controlled. Emma, will you tell him to get out? And do another 4. For 3, nice, slow, deep lunge. Last 2. And then last one. Hold this pose with your back knee dead straight. Hold it. Feel the activation in your quad. And then turn that heel in so your foot flattens to the ground. Push your hips back to the front of the mat. And just bend this front knee a little bit deeper. And just hold that pose. And just breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. 2 legs stay nice and wide. Let's go down to that right foot. So left hand to the ceiling. Rotate it up. Perfect. Take it over your head. Drop the left hand onto the floor. Twist up with the right arm so you're opening up those lower backs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, swap to the other side of the mat. So it's always slightly moving. That's it. Take the right arm up to the ceiling. Reach the right arm over your head. Drop the right hand on the floor and take your left hand to the ceiling, opening up that lower back. Let's change it again. Other side, go all the way across. Try to get your hips a little bit lower into the stretch. So bend the knee a little bit deeper. So take the left hand up. Good. Reach it over your head. Left hand to the floor. Now drop your hips down and then twist the right arm up towards the ceiling. Good. And then change. Last one, all the way back. Grab that left hand to the floor. Bend your knee. Right arm to the ceiling. Sink your hips down a little bit further. Right arm over your head. Right hand onto the floor. Go up onto your tippy toes. Drop the hips as you swing that left hand to the ceiling. Good. And drop those hands down. Drop your back knee onto the floor. And just with this front leg, I want you to pull that front leg in just a little bit. Bend your front knee forward. So your knees actually go further than your toes, basically. And just drop your heads down nice and deep into that little stretch. Just breathe here for a few seconds, pushing your hips down towards that mat. Now lift your head up. Now I'm going to get you to put your right hand on the floor. Reach back with your left hand and grab your foot. Now you're going to make it look elegant when you grab that foot. Not like you're trapping a wild animal. Oh, that's so cute, Caroline. Change that leg. Let's go to the other side. So you're doing the same thing. You're letting the front knee travel further than your toes. So let your knee sink forward. And you just drop your heads down, drop your hips down. Hold that little stretch. Oh, look. And then lean up with your head, or lift up with your head. Lean onto that left hand. Reach back with the right hand and grab that back foot. Gracefully does it. Grab a sock, anything that you can. You can use either hand, it makes no odds. 3, 2, 1, and bring it back into center. Wide legs, left hand to the floor. Twist that right arm up to the ceiling. Open up those back muscles, nice and gentle. Slowly change those arms. Rotate from that lower back, turning head, neck, and shoulders up towards the ceiling. And drop those hands down. Walk your feet in. Pull in your tummy muscles. Let's roll back up to stretch out those hamstrings. So now your 2 feet are touching, 2 ankles in, hands on your thighs, chin to your chest. Come all the way down. Then you're looking at your knees and you're bending the right leg. Caroline is so cute. And you're keeping the left leg nice and straight. And then you straighten that right leg, bend your left leg, and just feel that pull through your hamstrings. And as you straighten out those legs, roll back up. So squeeze your butt as you pull the spines back up, roll the shoulder blades back, heels together, toes out, and then curl down again. Reach down, and you're bending the right leg and keeping your left leg straight. And then straighten that right leg, bend your left leg. Nice and gentle. As you roll back up, you pull in your belly button, you squeeze from your bum to roll back up, and then bring your toes in. Just one more time for me, but separate those feet out a little bit wider, okay? So a little bit of a wider stance and really rotate those feet in. Now we're just gonna go straight down into this little stretch. All the way down. See if you can get to the floor on this one. Now feel the outer part of your hamstrings, feel the top of your hamstrings opening up, and just concentrate a little bit longer on the bending the right leg, and just pull yourself a little bit over to that left knee. Okay, so you're leaning towards that left knee. Feel that hamstring open, just breathe there for a few seconds. And then change, so you straighten the right leg, you bend the left leg, and you just lean over towards that right leg. So it's a really good stretch for the biceps femoris. And then as you slowly straighten those legs back up, let's come up slowly and roll your shoulders back. So guys, grab those little hand weights. With your two little weights in your hands, you're gonna put the weights on the floor. If you have, I've got like nice little kind of long hand weights. You're gonna put the weights on the floor every single time, so it's not pulling out that lower back. So you start with your nice big hamstring stretch, and then you're gonna inhale, try lift the spines up towards the ceiling. Now as you exhale, you can lower the weights down, or you can keep them high to make it more of a challenge, and it softens your back into the mat. Go down as slow as you can. Drop your heads and bring the arms back to 45 degrees behind your head at least. Inhale, weights to the ceiling. Exhale, roll up. And again, if you want to lift the weights higher, make it more of a challenge. Hinge from your hips and place the weights on the floor if possible. Stretch out those hamstrings, okay? So let's straighten up the back. Inhale, straighten up those back muscles. Exhale, you can start to lower those weights down if you want to, but you're folding. That's it, coming down slow as you can. Drop those shoulders, drop those heads. Inhale, hands to the ceiling. Exhale, chin to your chest. And again, lift that spine up one vertebrae at a time. Hinge from your hips. Come forward, stretching out those hamstrings. Drop your heads down. Let's do two more like this. You're opening up those back muscles. Straighten up. Exhale, come down. There are massive looking weights. I'm off your plate. I would not be able to do with those. But it's a really good challenge. Inhale, hands to the ceiling. Exhale, roll up, nice and slow. Fold the abdominals in half. When you come forward, fold from those hips to come down with those weights. That's it. Now this is our last one. Let's take it up. And now we're going to go down halfway. So you're going to exhale. Everyone start to lower the weights down parallel to the floor and pause halfway down. So halfway down, brace those two muscles. Take the right hand up and down. Left hand up and down. Good. Do it again. Let's do 6 and 5. For 4, I say you're regretting your decision now, for 3 more, 2 more, last one, and let's go all the way back down to that mat. Release those tummy muscles, press the weights onto the floor beside you, put your hands into the ground, pull the knees to tabletop position, guys. So into tabletop. Good. Now let's just do a few mini reverse curls into single leg stretch. So you're going to pull the knees in towards your chest and extend that leg out. And you're going to lift the tailbone and extend the leg out. Now think about your tops of your shoulders rolling back into the mat. When you have your hands flat, a lot of people lift the top of the shoulders. It's fine. It's just to a posture. That's all it is. So let's see if you can take your forearms off the ground, do the same exercise and just push with your elbows. And then press that leg out. So your forearms are off the floor, but you're pushing with those elbows. Yes, does your shoulders come up even more? Or is it less? Most people, it's more. Now, let's take the arms up to the ceiling. Can you do the same exercise? Reverse curl and single leg stretch. And there's no effort on those arms. There's just more effort on those two muscles. So reach those hands up towards the ceiling. That's it. Arms up straight behind you. Let's do 4. Good. Extend that leg for 3 more. Feel those muscles kicking in for 2 more. And then last one. And release back down to the floor. Relax those two muscles. We're just warming up just nicely. Place your hands behind your head and open up your elbows. 2 heels out to the edge of your mat. Let's just open up your hips right here. Turn your knees from side to side so your feet are nice and wide to the edge of your mat. And you're just keeping your heads on the floor and your elbows pressed back into that mat as you roll from side to side, just to open up those little low back muscles. A little bit across your hips as well. Good. And then bring it back into center. Now, we're going to do a nice, easy crisscross. Now, I say easy, it actually is. Not really. Hands behind your head again. Keep those elbows nice and wide. Now, I want everyone to lift the head, neck, and shoulders up. Legs are nice and straight, and feet are about hip distance apart, okay? So lift up, but keep your chin off your chest and curl up as high as you can. Now, pull the right knee to tabletop and twist to the right. Now, your objective is not to get elbow to knee. Your objective is to get your knee to come into your elbow. So twist into that position and then bring it back to center. Do not let your heads touch the floor. So you could take a deep breath in. Exhale, left knee comes in, left knee comes up to the elbow. So twist, twist, twist. Yes. Inhale, back to center. Don't let your heads touch the floor. Exhale, twist. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist. Now, if you need to rest, drop your head to the floor. Good. So twist as far as you can, but your objective is not to get your elbow to your knee. You're trying to get your knee to pull in, and touch your elbow. So keep those elbows nice and wide so I can see your smiles. That's it. Let's do 6. Do not let your heads touch the floor. Draw down those 2 muscles. And 5. Good, that's it. 4 more. Pull that knee in past tabletop. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. That's much better. Last 3, I think it is. I'm losing count by looking at that screen. Last 2. Twist. Perfect. That's secure. Let me see one more time. Yes. And then drop back down, release the tummy muscles and just straighten those arms up over your head. You should be feeling it just underneath your ribs. Even though that's technically an easy exercise, you should still be feeling that across those little tummy muscles. So now we're going to do roll up into roll overs to release the spine, but yet you can make it as hard or as easy as you want. So let's just do a roll up, okay? So hands go up to the ceiling, chin to your chest. Let's roll up towards those feet. Straight after that exercise is a little bit of a struggle when you come up. Now, when you go back, just pause there for a second, spend a second stretching, just turn your head to look at me. When you come back, you can make this as hard as you want. You can press the hands and do a slow roll over and just kick the ball above your head. And then when you come back down, you can watch your heels touch the floor and roll back up. It really burns the abdominals. Or if you need assistance, you just do a slight bit quicker. And that's all the difference is, okay? Fast or slow. Fast is fine, slow is really hard. So go really slow if you really want to take it up a notch and break down the movements and slow it down. Yes, that's it. So your legs swinging down will give you momentum anyway. It's the control on the abdominals. That's the hard part. Stretch it out. My God, that's the cutest dog in the whole world, you know that? Stretch forward, open up those hamstrings. He must know where the camera is. Do you know that? Give it a good stretch. Let me see. So Neve, let me see. Lift those legs. Yes. Now you're stronger, so watch those heels go down. So when you come up into what looks like 100 position, lower those legs, go down. That's it. Nice and slow, all the way to the floor. And then come up at the last point, and it really kicks into those tummy muscles. Good. Do one more for me, guys. Let me see. Rolling over. Yes, that's it. Perfect. And then release all the way back down to that mat for me, guys. All the way back to the floor. Pull those heels in. Grab your knees, I should say. Now pull the heels in. Pull your knees in towards your chest and just shorten those little hip flexors. Soften that lower back for me. Nice and gentle. Now, keep your heads on the floor for the first part of the single leg stretch. I'm going to get you to think about pulling the knee in so it's actually touching your rib cage, okay? So grab your right knees and pull it in so it touches your rib cage. From there, extend the left leg out nice and straight. Now, keep your eyes looking up towards the ceiling, but don't use those neck muscles. Press your heads back into the floor, brace your tummy, swap the legs. Now, it's more dynamic, so you're going to go 1 and swap, 2 and swap. Keep your heads down, keep your backs on the floor, and pull that knee in. Pull that knee in, touch your ribs. That's all we're doing. Think about that. Head staying on the floor, press your shoulder blades back into the mat. Stay active on those tummy muscles the whole time. That's perfect. Now, in 4 more, we're going to lift the head. For 3 more. And 2 more. 1 more. Lift the head up, curl up as high as you can. Now get your knee to your shoulder. Pull it in, knee to shoulder. That's it, knee to shoulder. Perfect. Get more dynamic. Pull it in, shorten that hip flexor. Do 6 and 5 and 4 for 3 more. That's it, 2 more. Last one, take the legs to tabletop position. Put your hands behind your head, guys. Stay up here in this position. Brace your tummy. Now, curl up, lift up as high as you can. Now, you can pull your elbows in, that's fine, as long as you don't bring your chin down to your chest. Look at those kneecaps and just press your legs away from you, just an inch or two, so you really recruit those tummy muscles. So you just press your legs out a little bit and then switch off, drop your head to the floor. Okay? Take the legs out as far as you can, not to full straight legs just yet. So take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, lift the head, press the legs out and just let it hang out there for a few seconds. Lift those ribs a tiny bit higher. And then you inhale, switch off. Think about your backs not coming off that mat. Exhale. Inhale. Go nice and slow. Exhale, press your heels together. Good. Inhale. When you start to feel more comfortable, you can straighten those legs out. Maybe go for height, as in take the legs up first. And then you can go lower if you feel even better, feel extra brave. So you're going to inhale, exhale, press out on the exhale. Inhale, nice and slow. Exhale. Inhale. Good. Now you don't have to straighten those legs if you don't want to, but let me see that technique. Exhale, lift the ribs on the exhale. Try get the legs out as far away as you want or out as straight as you want. That's it. Keeping those abdominals nice and tight. Exhale, lift the shoulders, look at those legs, send them away. Feel it right into those tummy muscles. Perfect. Now for the last 2, lift your ribs higher rather than letting those legs go low. Lift those ribs higher. Chin off your chest. Last one. Hold in the position that you've chosen. Lift those shoulders up, stay there. Now curl up an inch higher, tiny bit higher, Sharon. I want to see you pass the puppy. Lift the pole, smile for 4, 3. I think I can make out Mary's face. 2, 1. Release back down to that mat. Release those tummy muscles. Ah, it's the best thing about being an instructor. I get to stop whenever I want. I know that one's nasty. So give it a good stretch. Just underneath your ribs at the top of the rectus abdominals should be absolutely burning. Give it a good stretch from one side all the way over to the other side. Nice big stretch out. And then bring it back into center. Now we're just going to do a swan dive to open up what we just tightened up. So grab your knees, roll up and over. Just a nice, easy swan dive, nothing fancy. Come down onto that mat. Now, tuck those elbows in and imagine your neck. There's a gap here between your shoulders and your ears. Imagine your neck is super long. So elbows in, neck's nice and long, legs, separate your feet out to the edges of your mat. And you're going to inhale. Pull yourself up only to the point where your back likes it, even if it's only halfway. Exhale, tuck your elbows into your ribs. I want your triceps to do the work. So your elbows should be tucked in towards your ribs, towards your bra strap. So hands should be about rib cage height. Inhale, come up. Neck muscles nice and long. Now squeeze your bum to take the pressure off your back. Exhale, come down to the mat. And imagine your neck is still nice and long and your arms have to work twice as hard. It also takes the pressure off your back. So you're going to inhale. That's it, neck muscles nice and long. Exhale. Now go down slow and think about your neck staying open. So you have to really focus on those triceps. So inhale up, exhale back. I'm going to just turn this way so you can see how narrow my arms are. Good. So you're going to go down. So tuck those elbows in and you're going to inhale. Arms nice and narrow. Yes. Exhale. Elbows press into your ribs. Feel those triceps. Neck muscles, open them up. Let's do 2 more. Swan dive. Exhale, don't push out the abdominals. Train them to pull in. Let's do it again. Inhale up. And exhale back down onto that mat. Release. Now, just to decompress your back, I want you to bring your heels up towards the ceiling and rock your heels from side to side. Little tiny scorpion tails. And then push yourself back into child pose just to release that lower back just a little bit. And we're going to do a little bit of arms, a little bit of tricep. We're going to use, for those who have the ring, grab the ring. And for those who have a gurney ball, grab a gurney ball. Now, if you don't have either of those things, guys, If you have a wooden floor, you can use, like, say, hand towels or something on the floor. If you're carpet, you can use paper plates or something, but you can actually slide your hand on carpet quite well. But what we're going to do is lie down into the tummy muscles. The guys in the ball, now this one's a little bit more tricky for the guys on the ball. You're going to have your wrists on top of the ball. So straight wrists, no bent up wrists, okay? None of this action requires bent wrists. So straight wrists, and then you're just going to roll it in just a little bit. Now, on this one, this is our normal swan dive movement when you're coming up. We're just going to tuck. So you're going to look underneath you and round your back. So you're rolling in, so your hands are flat on top of the ball. So no bent wrists, hands flat on top of the ball, and it works the tricep, and you're engaging those tummy muscles. And then you just push the ball out. It's not about height. It's actually the opposite, staying low and staying tucked more so. Now, beautiful rings. You're going to have vertical rings. 2 hands on top of that ring, 2 arms on top. Your ribs stay on the mat on this one, and you guys are pulling down rather than pushing down. So ribs stay on the floor, and you're going to exhale, pull that ring down. Inhale, release. That's what you guys are doing, but I don't want to see your bodies moving like this. There's no movement on the torso. For rings, there is definite movement on the torso for Gertie balls. Okay, are you ready? So arms straight on both efforts. You're going to inhale, exhale, pull in with the ball, push down on that ring, and you're just looking underneath you with that Gertie ball, and then you just push it back out. Okay, rings, you're going to exhale, push down, inhale. That's it. Now you're not petting that ring, Olive. I want to see you pressing as hard as you can. That's it. You look so tiny in the end of that ring. Inhale and exhale. So you're going to exhale as you tuck on that Gertie ball, and inhale as you push it out. Now the rings, you're just breathing the whole time. So you just exhale and inhale. It's actually better if you do exhale on the push. Okay, really work those triceps. Good. So Emma, when you come up, look underneath you and tuck more so than anything else. That's it. And do another 2 for me, guys. Yes, perfect, Neve. That's it. Last one. Now I want my Gerties to hold up in this position and just stay in that pose. I want my rings to push down in the ring and pulse it as quick as you can. And we're going to burn those little triceps. So rings pulsing as fast as you can. Gerties, you guys are staying here, staying tucked for a few seconds. And then I want my Gerties to lift the heads up so you can see your smiles again. And you guys are going to go elbow drop, elbow lift, elbow drop, elbow lift. Rings don't stop. You'll get push-ups out of. So Gerties are just elbow dropping and lifting. Let's see, Siobhan, I want you to have a little bit of smoke coming out of that ring. We're going to do 4 more. That's it for 3. You want to make it look like you're doing CPR for 2 more. Last one. That's it, that's it, that's it. Drop back down, release, everyone. Release those poor little triceps. Bring your heels up because you do compress that lower back just a little bit. And then use those arms, push back down onto those little heels. Give it a good stretch out. So foreheads down, reach those arms forward. Imagine trying to get your ribs, your armpits towards the ground. It's a nice big stretch. Take the 2 hands over to one side to stretch across the shoulders into your serratus and ribs. Now your forehead goes down nice and deep into that little stretch. And do the same to your other side, all the way across. Nice big stretch out. And then bring it back into center. Now, grab those bands, guys. Now that we've warmed up our triceps, we get to use our bands on this one. So we get to do our Superman action, but again, it's the adaptive one. The one I like to do, which is always the nasty version. So it's a long band that you need. Put your, just for argument's sake, put your left hand on top of the band and you're grabbing the end of the band with your right hand. Now this is actually even too tight because this will cause too much effort on the tricep. So have it nice and kind of not soft, but enough that you can feel it, but still move the arm. But I don't want you to twist that torso. Okay, so your shoulders are over your wrist, well, over that left wrist. Keep your back nice and flat, so you're not tucking, okay? I want your shoulders rolled back, and I want you to take your left leg off that mat. So we're challenging balance as well. Now, hold the band with your right hand, and you're gonna exhale, lift the leg, lift the band, squeeze that tricep. Inhale, release, exhale. Now your arm stays dead straight. You slide your hand along your thigh, and then you lift it up past your hip pocket. Good. Now check those tummy muscles. Pull in, because you can do this without engaging those tummy muscles. I want you to brace those tummy muscles. So if you're able to lift that arm super high, it might be too easy. So I just want a little bit of height through that tricep. That's it. Keep your hand in close to your hip pocket. I want you to brush your wrist off your hip. So arm in close to that body and do another 4. So bring it a little bit closer on you. So bring it in so it's actually touching your hip. That's it. 3. Good. 2 more. That's perfect. Last one. Hold it up there. Hold that position. That's it. Keep the leg nice and long and let's pulse that arm. Pulse, pulse, pulse. That's it. Do another 6, 5, 4, for 3. Lift that leg on you for 2. Last one, and release those little arms. That is a nasty one, especially after the last sets. You guys are going to hate me tomorrow. I'm going to end up losing a lot of subscriptions. All right, is ready? Let's do the other side. Shake out the wrist. And again, put your right hand down on the band. Your left hand holds the end of your band. I'm going to turn this way so you can see it. So left hand to left hip. You're going to brace the tongue muscles so your abdominals are nice and engaged. Take the right leg off the floor. Now check your balance, squeeze, and then lift that leg, lift the band. Return your foot to the floor and lift. That's it. So when we pulse the arm at the end, we're going to keep the legs steady. But on this one, we're lifting arms and legs. Now think about every time you exhale, you lift the band and you brace the abdominals even more. So keep that elbow dead straight for me. So straighten that arm out for me, Sharon. That's it. Don't let the elbow bend. So even if it's a looser band but a straight elbow, that's very important. Now that's perfect. Good. Keep the arm up there, Siobhan. That's it. Do 4. Don't let your hand go all the way to the floor. Keep it up off that mat. That's it. For 3. Last 2. So don't let it go down to the floor. That's it. Last one. Hold up there. Lift the arm. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Tighten your muscles. Pulse that arm. Keep your leg nice and steady. And pulse, pulse, pulse. Feel that tricep. For 6, 5, 4, for 3, 2, 1. And switch off. Release. Shake out your little wrists. Sit back, child pose, and just switch off, guys. That was a tough one on your arms. So foreheads down to the ground. Creep those arms out and just imagine your ribs touching your thighs. So get down nice and low into that little stretch. We're going to really open up that upper back. So come up into box position for me. I'm going to turn this way. So let's do that rotation stretch. So we'll do it on our breath first. So you're going to take the left hand, slide underneath, exhale, touch your head to the floor. Inhale, bring it back into center. Exhale, slide underneath. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, twist through. Nice and gentle. Inhale to center. Fill up your lungs. Exhale, twist. Now you're going to feel that tricep because you actually lift yourself up on a single arm. Exhale, twist through. Inhale, center. Last 4. Exhale. Inhale. For 3, fill up those lungs. Exhale all the air out of your lungs. Last 2. This is where we pause. So you're going to twist through and stay in that position. So drop your shoulder and head to the floor. The arm that's in front of your face, wrap that arm around your lower back and try imagine hooking into the inner thigh and the opposite leg, or any leg will do. See if you can turn your head to look up towards the ceiling. Is your shoulder in the way? Can you roll back your shoulder even more? And that causes the rotation further up along your spine. Try breathe. Deep breaths in through the nose. Out through that mouth. Do 1 more big breath. And then exhale, unravel, bring yourself back into center. Let's do the other side. So slide the arm underneath. Drop your head and shoulder. Rest for a second. Wrap that arm across the lower back and hook it into your inner thigh if that's possible, or the knickers or the leggings, one or the other. Turn your head to look up towards the ceiling. Is your shoulder in the way? See if you can breathe. See if you can relax your rib cage on this side to be able to breathe in through the nose, out to that mouth. 1 more big breath for me. And then exhale, unravel, bring it back into center. Lie onto your backs, guys. Take your gurney ball or your ring, whatever you have. We're going to work on the pelvic floor on this one. Now, so if you're using the gurney ball, it's between your knees, obviously. And if it's the ring, you're going to have the ring parallel to the ceiling. And that is your position, okay? So get yourselves comfortable. The ring is very effective because it really gets you to focus on the pelvic floor muscles. Now, I want the soles of your feet, I want your feet touching together and your knees nice and wide. So if you look down, it's kind of like a diamond shape. So feet together, knees out, and even if you have the gurney ball, your feet are still together. Okay, so I'm going to use the Gertie ball for reference. Now, all I want you to do is a tiny tailbone tuck. Now, the tailbone tuck is just to get you to activate the posterior part of your pelvic floor. So the glutes, so tighten your glutes and grip the ball at the same time. And then just try and get that sensation of stopping yourself from peeing. So you're just trying to get the sensation. You might not pick it up every single time. Or if you do pick it up, you might feel it only for a second, maybe 2 seconds. The max you're going to feel it is 5 seconds anyway. And then you just release, you kind of arch the back, you release the grip, but you obviously don't let the ball or the ring drop, okay? So you're going to inhale, exhale, tuck your tailbone, grip the ring, grip the ball, try pull up the pelvic floor, wake it up for 1 second, 2 seconds, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. And then you release, relax the tailbone, arch the back. So inhale, exhale, tuck, grip, and grip that pelvic floor. So you're squeezing your bum and you're gripping the pelvic floor, getting that sensation of stopping yourself from peeing. And then you release. So again, every single time, if you don't feel it every single time, that is not incorrect. So you're just waking up a muscle. It's like doing a bicep curl. You have to do so many bicep curls to make it stronger. So even if it's just one after the other, you don't have to do sets. Okay, so keep doing it. You're just tucking, gripping that pelvic floor, trying to just wake up that muscle and then release. So it's like a hammock of muscle right across the base of your pelvis. So if you imagine when you're doing the tuck and you're doing the grip, if you imagine like say a square Kleenex tissue on the floor and you're picking that tissue up from the center, that's what's happening to your pelvic floor. It's like a vacuum. It lifts and supports all your internal organs. So wake it up, make it a little bit stronger, and it gives you good base support for the internal organs. So we're going to do 2 more like this, nice and gentle. So you're going to just tuck, grip, try wake it up, even for a second. That's all we need. Release. Sharon is so distracted. Last one. Tuck and grip and hold that position. Now you're going to forget or lose the pelvic floor after 5 seconds anyway. But let's stay here and just switch off the pelvic floor. So don't engage it. Just have it there in the background. And I want you to just squeeze in and out really fast on that ring. So you're going to work different sections of your adductors here in your thighs. So you're just going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze on that ring or the ball, whatever's between your knees. Even if it's a cushion, you're just squeezing. That's it. Now hold the squeeze. Lift those hips into a full bridge. Lift those hips right up. Now you're still going to feel those glutes because it is bridge. Hold it up there and just squeeze as fast as you can. So we're just literally knackering out those inner thighs. So you're going to try lift as high as you can. Sharon has a small dog in her tummy. Keep pulsing as fast as you can. Do 6, 5, legs are burning, 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Switch off, drop your hips. Do not take that ring out. Pull the knees to tabletop. I saw that, Siobhan. Pull the legs to tabletop position. Now your legs are going to feel like a ton weight. Ignore that. That's a side effect. Squeeze in as tight as you can. Imagine trying to burst the Gertie ball, break the cushion or break the ring. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. And it gets very hard when your hip flexors are tired, your adductors are already tired, the legs want to shake more. So exhale, squeeze as tight as you can. Let me see what it's like in the ring. Oh, fair play to you, lads. Anya, you can thank your mammy tomorrow. 2, 4 more. Squeeze, press your shoulders back into the mat. If you need a cushion for your heads, guys, at any stage, grab a cushion. 3 more, squeeze. Try to get your toes to touch every single time. Last 2. Exhale, squeeze. Feel those legs, they're starting to shake. Last one, squeeze as tight as you can. Hold that activation there. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders into 100 position. Oh, yes, they're so lucky. Hold and pump those arms. Keep squeezing on those rings. Keep pumping those arms and just push as deep as you can for 6, 5, 4, for 3, 2. Pump those arms harder. 1. And release back down. Relax those thighs, tummy muscles, inner thighs especially. Your legs should just flop apart naturally. But let's rock the knees over and press the arms above your head. Open up those lower backs for me. Slowly do the same to your other side. Tuck the knees all the way across to one side, stretching across your lower back, pressing your shoulder blades back into that mat. Nice and gentle, bring it back into center. So we're going to wake up those hips. I'm going to get you to grab your activation bands or make an activation band. So again, if you don't have an activation band, it is the long bands tied into a loop, but make it relatively small so you got to have a good bit of resistance on those bands. Okay. So again, long band tied into a loop or grab an activation band. It's the little small bands. Now, get nice and comfy.
Now, I'm going to show you, we'll do a bridge. Now, this bridge, obviously we all know bridge. It's really good for the outer hips. But the guys in the ball, there's an even better technique that you can use on the ball. And this is just for the guys in the ball. If you want to use it, you can do. It's literally grabbing the ball like this. Okay, now it's quite simple. You're literally sitting on the floor. It just looks awkward, that's all it is. And you just press your shoulders back into the ball. Now, you do the same exercise. The rest of us are going to be lying on the floor. You guys who have the big ball, you can just press your shoulders back into the ball, but you're going to be lifting the hips up off the ground. So your bridge starts from here. Your head is resting on the big ball and it switches off your neck muscles, but it fires up the hips, but doesn't put any pressure on those lower backs. Your feet are nice and wide. So when we're doing the same bridge on the floor, you're just going to come down like this, tucking the tailbone up, squeezing your butt and pressing outwards into those bands. So again, necks are on the ball, nice and comfortable. You still have to stabilize on the ball and press up nice and high, okay? Now, if you don't have a ball, you can actually do this with your head on, like, say, a chair or a poof or a couch or something like that. It's really effective and really nice on those lower backs, but it really gives strength to those glutes. Again, if you don't have the ball, you're back into normal bridge and you're pressing those knees out and you're just it's not tucking, but tipping your tailbone to the floor. So we're not tucking and arching. We're just going to keep the pelvis steady, lift the hips up, and then tip the tailbone to the floor. Good. So press the knees out the whole time. Never let those knees come in. So you're going up and down. Let me see. Keep the feet wide. Keep the knees wide as your band is stretched. Lift those hips. That's it. Good, Siobhan. And press your head back into that big ball. So you actually switch off those neck muscles. So it's pretty much the same exercise, but you get more range and more depth into your glutes on that ball. Or if your head or shoulders are on the couch, you can pretty much do the same thing, okay? So we're going to do 6 of these. Now, don't let the ball move. If you're using the ball, don't let the ball move. So it's just your hips up and down. Good. Do another 4. Good adaptation, Anya. I'm very impressed for a stream. Or get your shoulders up onto that couch as well. So put your shoulders, so it's like a little, you can take a little nap there. That's too good. Now everyone's on the last one. So we're going to sit up nice and high. Feel those glutes. They're fired up nicely. Keep those hips lifted. Guys in the big ball, stay up nice and high. Now pulse those knees outwards and you should feel it deep into those glute muscles. And let's do 6 and 5, 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Drop your tailbones back down. Now the guys in the ball, stay here. The guys on the floor, I want you guys to sit up. Now Anya's doing the perfect thing. She's sitting with her back against the couch, which is perfect. So sit your back against something, if it's a bed or a couch, because it sets your pelvis up into a certain position that works right in here back at the sacrum. Now don't worry if you have to come off screen for a second. Mary, I assume, yes, there's a big ball, I can see the shine. Now, same position, but I want you to almost arch your back on this one. So really arch the back so it sets your pelvis up and you can put your hands on the floor, whether it's the couch or the ball beside you or behind you. Separate your feet, press your knees outwards into that band. Very simple looking, and you won't even move very much, but it just has your pelvis in a certain position that it creeps around to the back of the sacrum, back of the bone at the back of your pelvis. That's it. You're just pushing outwards and it's lovely. And you're rolling your shoulders back into the couch, back into the ball, whatever's behind you. Good. It's almost like a little birthing pose. We're going to do 6. Nightmares. 5. 4 more. Oh, this is burning for 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Push out as wide as you can for 6 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release those legs. Oh my God, that's horrible. Back down. Remind me not to do that one again. Take those bands off your legs, guys. Let's just move the big ball out of the way for a second. Do not move. And just lie back onto your backs. Let's do figure 4. Nice and gentle. So I'm going to cross. My ball is coming at me. Cross the right ankle to left knee. Now again, you can put your cushions behind your head. If you find you're looking, say, backwards behind you instead of looking straight up, you need a cushion just for that neck. So reach down, grab the back of the left hamstring, pull in, or even a gurney ball. That's actually really nice on those neck muscles. Oh my God, it's lovely. So pull in the left hamstring to open up the right hip. Now you're just going to sit here. You're going to switch off because we really fired up into the back of the sacrum, back of that tailbone. So you want to switch them off. You want to open them up and we will release them with the spiky. So we're doing the 3 steps, stretch, strengthen, release. And we're going to rock from side to side here because when you rock to the left, it really opens up that hip a little bit more. That's it. Now you're not just holding that hamstring. You have to actively pull it in until you feel that right hip stretching. Good. Think about your back, your lower back softening into that mat. Breathe into the nose, out to that mouth. Now we're going to deepen the pull through that hip. We're going to reach down, grab the right knee, left ankle with arm. Right knee, right ankle, sorry, left hand I meant to say. It's a bit of a twister going on here. Take your left leg and extend it out to the far end of the mat. Good, so you're still holding onto this. Now, if you can't hold that ankle, get your ring or your band, hook it over your foot and pull that leg in, but keep your shin lifted up towards the ceiling. Now, your left heel, drop it down to the mat, so you just switched off on that side and just feel that right hip opening. Same thing, we're just gonna rock from side to side. And again, if you have that gurney ball or a pillow, put it behind your head. It's really nice on those neck muscles and it switches off the nervous system just a little bit more. Good, and you're just rocking, keep those heels lifted just a little bit. Perfect. And do 6 and 5, 4, for 3 more, 2, 1, and let's change that leg. So drop that right foot down. Do the same thing. You're going to put the left heel on top of the right knee. You're going to reach down to the back of the right hamstring. It's the simple figure 4. It's one of the most effective stretches for the hips because you're set in a correct position. So again, you're not just holding the hamstring, you're physically pulling that leg in and you're going to rock from side to side to soften that hip, soften the piriformis, soften the pressure on that sacrum, on that tailbone. Good. Good. And just breathe in through the nose, out through that mouth. Think about your back muscles softening into that mat. Good. And the rocking is nice. It just kind of relaxes the whole body, but it also goes a little bit deeper into the stretch every single time. Good. Now we're going to increase the stretch. So we're going to reach down, grab that left ankle, left knee, and we're going to extend the right leg out nice and straight and drop that right leg down towards the floor if that's possible. Keep this shin and heel lifted. I'm just going to kick that ball out of the way and you're going to rock from side to side. Go away, ball. So you're rocking from side to side to open up the piriformis, to take the pressure off the sacrum, off that sciatic nerve. You've strengthened, we're stretching, and we're going to release next. Good. So do 6, 5, 4, for 3 more, 2 more, and last one, release that leg back down. Good. Now we're going to release the spine. We're going to use the gurney ball. If you have a gurney ball, you can deflate it down, or even a cushion will do. So if you have your gurney ball close by, you can use it. You can just deflate. You're going to have to use my teeth. We're going to deflate that ball at least halfway down. Now mine's a fairly small gurney ball, so I don't have to deflate it too much. And we're just going to soften that lumbar spine. So you're going to start with the ball underneath your tailbone, or if you don't have a ball, put a cushion underneath your tailbone. Now for this one, I'm going to turn this way so you can see it. I want to see feet out, knees in with the ball or the cushion underneath your tailbone. And you're going to do this action. You're going to roll the knee from side to side. Now go slowly, because initially you might feel that pull across some of the internal rotators of your hips right in here at the back of that tailbone, back of that sacrum. So go gentle, because you're literally rolling from, an upright position right down to that mat, and you're rolling all the way across from one side to the other. Now gently, actively push that knee down to the floor. Roll across, push the knee down to the floor. So these are the internal rotators. They wrap in underneath the pelvis and they attach right in along that sacrum or the hips. So it's different areas they attach, and you're going to feel a pulling on different points. Good. Now roll your 2 knees across to one side and imagine this internal leg, I should say, the top leg is trying to sink down towards the floor. You're going to feel on your tightest muscle. Right now, I can feel it kind of a bit at the back of the tailbone, but I'm feeling it here in the inside of my pelvis. So that's the iliacus muscle. Attaches right inside the pelvis. And just let it open, let it release, let it stretch, breathe. And you're actively trying to sink it down towards the floor. And let's change the other side. Same thing, roll the knees across. And again, the cushion is still underneath that tailbone or the gurney ball, whatever you have. You're sinking the knee down with gravity. Don't force it, just let it hang there, and just note the tight areas on this side of your hip. Is it coming up into the side of your waist? Is it into the tailbone? Is it the inside of your pelvis? And then slowly bring it back into center. Bring the gurney or the cushion, whatever it is, into your arch of your back, and make sure it's not too big, that you should be able to arch your back over that cushion quite comfortably. Good. Now for this one, soles of your feet go together. Knees go out to the side. So it's our diamond shape with our knees. Let the knees open. Take your hands into whatever position that you want, up, down, out, whatever's comfortable for your shoulder girdle, and just relax into that stretch as you rock your knees from side to side. Now, if that's uncomfortable to rock, just hold it there in that position. It's actually quite nice just to switch off and not move. Focus on your breathing. Inhale, exhale. And then stretch those legs out. Let your feet sink down to the end of your mat. Separate your feet to a natural hip distance apart and do the same wiggle from side to side. Or again, you can just lie there. The junction where your spine and your pelvis meets can be very sensitive for some people. Slowly drag your heels back in, lift those hips, take the gurney ball out, and let's get the spikies. Are you ready? So grab your two little spikies. I don't even know where my spikies are. And we're going to put the spikies underneath those little hips. There they are. All right, so get nice and comfortable. Spikies under your butts. You can have your feet on the floor, our knees to tabletop, but we're going to go moving the spikies around till you find your trigger point. So tabletop, remember, is knees over the hips. So we don't want to have the knees into the chest because I want the pelvis in a certain angle, okay? So when you go from 45 degrees to 45 degrees and you haven't found your trigger point, take the spiky, move it up or down or in or out till you find your trigger point. Really move around, go from a complete turnover from one side to the other side, and you go right into that external rotators of your hips, and they can get super tight. Good. Go all the way from side to side. Find that sore area. Now let's go to the right hand side. So focus on one hip, one spiky. Stay there. Now you can just sit there and hold that position. That's enough. But what I want you to do is with the right leg, keep it bent like a little door and just bring the knee out to the side, bring it back up. And you're just opening and closing those knees. And it kind of shortens the piriformis, shortens that little muscle. And you really get into that little trigger point. Let's try the other side and see if it's as bad. One side will always be that little bit worse. Now we've woke these specific muscles up with that kind of technique of sitting against the couch or the ball and working on those little bands. So these ones are fired up and awake now. So let's do another 3. Let's loosen them up now. 2 more. And 1 more. And then bring it back to center. Drop your feet. Take the spikies into the arch of your back. Now you can have them in your trigger point. You can have them wide, low, down, or even high up into your ribs. Find your trigger point. You can keep your feet on the floor or curl your knees up to your chest, but you're going to rock from side to side to massage that little area. So find the tight muscles that are causing you the most amount of aggravation. And just rock from side to side. So lean to one side. So push over to the right hand side and just lean into that spiky. Feel that burning sensation. That's what you want. That's fascia releasing itself. And it's kind of resetting itself. Pain is not so much fun, but fascia burning is nice. Do the same to the other side. Just check right to left, which is worse. Definitely my right side is more of a burny sensation than my left. And then bring it back to center. Drop your feet onto the floor. Nice and gentle. Now you're going to lift the hips up. And we're going to take the spikies. Actually, we'll take it into the ribs. It's going to go shoulders straight away, but I'm going to go ribs first. So I'm going to get you to come up just a little bit for this one. You're going to take the spikies, say back of the kidneys, below the bra strap area, round about there. Now to get there or sit on that position, just lean back onto your spikies. Don't go all the way back to the floor and just grab the back of your knees. So you can see the spikies just underneath my ribs there. And there you can actually bounce in the spikies and you'd be surprised how sore this area actually is. And you never feel pain throughout the day. You never feel pain here. You do feel pain across your tailbone, across that low back area, because when this area gets tight, it pulls down to that point there and that can cause the low back pain. So we're just going to release that tension. Now, hold the 2 knees with your left arm. I'm going to wrap around the back of my knees with my left arm. Put the right hand on the floor and just twist to the right. So you're pressing on the outer part of your ribs. It's the side of that trigger point. I just found a spot. And let's do the same to your other side. So you grab the back of the knees and you lean over to the left and you find, yeah, this side is fine in comparison to the other side. So I have a little bit of a rotation then. That means one side is not working properly. Bring it back to center. Drop your feet. Take those spikies and bring them up in between your shoulder blades now. Get nice and comfortable back on the mat with your heads. You can wrap the arms across your chest and rock. Or again, hands go behind your head, lift your hips, lift your heads, and roll up and down along those spikies. And if you're rolling up and down, practice going almost the full length of your back. And you get to release all along your spine. Because when you're just going from segments, say from your lower back to your upper back to your shoulders to your trapezius, you're only releasing those areas. So if you practice rolling up and down, you get to soften the whole section from low back to upper back. But do stop when you find a sore spot, a particular sore spot. Lean in, play around with pushing onto it, releasing all that tension. Good. Now, take the spikies just a little bit wider. So we had them between, say, the shoulder blades. I want you to bring them out a little bit so they're actually sitting on the shoulder blade itself. So I'm going to do a little bit of shoulder rehab. Now you're going to take your hands out to the side like we were trying to put our elbows to the floor earlier on. This is what you're going to do with your arm position. And just, if you want, you can lift your hips. If not, drop your hips back down. But lean from side to side or start to move your arms in circular motion and just find the trigger points or the areas that congest the back of your shoulders. Probably a little bit easier to keep your hips on the floor, but just mess around with that movement. Mess around moving your arms, moving the spikies to a certain point that you can feel. You can feel it catching. We're going to take it to a single spiky in a minute, but I want you to move around, find something, and then drop off your two spikies, take it to a single spiky, and we're going to do it on the outer part of your shoulders. So I'm going to take it, say, to the right side. So put your right arm down beside you. Take your spiky in behind your right shoulder blade. Now you're going to lift your head off the floor. You're going to roll onto your side and you're literally rolling that spiky all across the head of your shoulder and all the way back to the back of your shoulders, okay? So you're going to roll from side to side. You're going to have to use your other hand for balance. And I want you to roll right into the front of your shoulder because you will be surprised how bad that shoulder is there. That's where your chest and your shoulder meets, the anterior delt. So roll it right across. Now again, your neck is up. That's the only thing. Your head is off the floor. You're waking up those neck muscles. You can, if you had a spare gurney ball, chuck it underneath your head. Now roll forward and back till you find the trigger point that catches the most. Right now, mine's in the front of my right shoulder. Just lean into that point. If you want to get your head onto the floor, get your head onto the floor because the pain is so much. And just breathe for a few seconds, trying to get that trigger point to switch off. Oh, that's nasty. And then release and do the same to your other side. Now again, it's always a comparison. Is right worse than left? All right, so same thing. You start at the back of the shoulder and you do the same thing. You lift up off the mat and you roll across your shoulder. And if you do have a trigger point, is it in the same position as the other shoulder? Nope, nothing here. Oh, move around till you find it. Oh, a little bit on the back of the shoulder there. Yep. Definitely got one there. So when you do find it, again, if it's at the back of the shoulder, you can play around with arm movement as if you're trying to throw a tennis ball. If it's at the front of the shoulder, the best thing to do is just sit there and hold it. But move yourself, move your arm, or move the spiky. Oh, if it's not too sore, just focus on your breathing. In through the nose, out through that mouth. Releasing all that tension. Oh, and release of those spikies. Let's take them up into the upper trapezius. So drop back again. Two spikies into the tops of your shoulders, just beneath the neckline. Arms going up to the ceiling. Lift your hips into bridge. Now if it's too sore, drop the hips, but rock your arms from side to side, massaging that little area. Nice and gentle. Now you can lean from side to side, just to increase that pressure if you want to. So go over from one spiky all the way over to the other. Good. Inhale, take your arms back behind your head. Exhale towards your belly button. Inhale, arms go back. Exhale towards your belly button. Inhale and exhale. Do another two. Last one. And as you exhale, soften your spines back down onto the mat. Drop those arms and just kind of shrug your shoulders to your ears. Release that pressure, that tension. And then push the spikies up to your neck. So two spikies come together at the back of your neck. Drop the legs down. And again, you can wiggle your head from side to side. You can use one or both spikies. But you're wiggling from side to side and physically pushing your neck backwards into that spiky. So when you turn to the side, push in. Turn to the side, push in.
Now I want you to roll your head completely over to one side. So look over your shoulder. Now press your neck into the spiky. You can move it down or up a little bit till you feel that spiky working into that muscle. Just hold it for a few seconds. And then do the same to your other side. Go all the way across. Turn your head over. Press the side of your neck. Feel the tension there. Press into that spiky. And then bring it to center. Nod your heads up and down. Just increasing blood flow. And with your head, draw circles. Reverse those circles. And then push the spikies a little bit higher to the base of your skull. Same thing, wiggle your heads from side to side. Nod your heads up and down. And with your heads, draw circles out and around, nice and slowly. And get right into the base of the skull when you wiggle from side to side. Make sure you reverse those circles. And just check, does your neck do any noises, any clicking or any crunching noises when you move in circular direction? Now, once you turn your head completely to the side again, look over your shoulder and press the side or corner of your skull down into the spiky and see if the pressure goes up into your temples or into your eyebrows or to the top of your head. And then roll to the other side, go all the way across, pressing the side of your head and skull into that spiky. And bring it back to center. Take those spikies out, drop your heads and roll both spikies over the sides and top of your head, releasing all that pressure. Bring it down onto your temples, down onto your cheekbones, down across your jaw, across your chin, and right down under your neck and across your chest. So roll the spikies across your chest. Good. Now, I want you to roll the spikies back up to the neck. Now, I want you to turn your head to the right for a second, okay? Now, use one spiky and roll into the side of the left side of your neck. As you turn your head to the right, just roll the spiky along the side of your neck. And you'll actually feel how much congestion is in your neck. And that is putting pressure on the back of your head. That's going to give you your headaches and migraines. Let's do the same to the other side. Turn your head all the way across. Use one spiky. Roll it into the side of your neck. Go right in underneath your jaw, maybe in underneath your earlobe. Find that pressure point. There is pressure points there as well. Find that congested tissue. And then bring it back into center. Roll the spikies up into your jaw. Slowly across your cheekbones, over your temples. And then circle up and over the top and sides of your head, releasing all that pressure. Take your spikies in your hands, bring your hands down by your sides. Take a deep breath in as squeeze on those spikies, tense up every muscle, hold your breath. As you exhale, relax your feet, legs, hips, shoulders, arms, and release those spikies.